Bye.
All right. We'll wait till Martino gets off the phone here.
I'm here.
You're here?
Yes.
You in one piece?
Oh, gracious. Getting old. Hear that cracking? That 8-hour plane ride will kill you.
So, Semaj, last week we pulled Martino in from Italy. Italy, and Brigade and Gianna. By the way, Gianna is our host today. Everybody say hi to Gianna.
Hi, Gianna.
Yes. And this week he's here in person. What do you think?
I'm glad to be back.
Are you?
Yeah.
So, come on, we have to talk a little bit about your trip, right?
Yes. So,
what did you like and what didn't you like?
I did not like.
I
did not like Rome, other than seeing the Sistine Chapel and the Colosseum and the beautiful artwork. Outside of that, I thought the food was terrible, service was terrible, and I couldn't wait to leave.
Hey, wait a minute. Didn't I say to him, you're not going to like the food when you get to Rome?
And
I liked it when I was in Rome.
Oh, I didn't.
I thought it was. I had a pesto lasagna.
One time we were so hungry, so they said go to this place, whatever. There's a restaurant on the roof, and you'll love the food. Long story short, we get there, we sit down, and they say, "Would you like toast? Would you like this?" It's like 5:30. I'm like, "No, I'm starving." "Oh, we don't serve dinner till 7:30. You'll have to come back."
Whoa!
I couldn't wait to get out of Rome. Now, Sicily, I loved.
Did you like Sicily?
Yeah, the food. It was
That's
beautiful.
where all of my father's side.
Really, it was
from
great.
where they come.
Sicily was amazing. So, anyway.
Yeah.
When in Rome.
I remember. And we got this Italian pizza, right? It's all bread.
Yeah.
And they got this little bit of sauce in the middle.
Oh, it was terrible.
And it was like, you need to Americanize your pizza.
We walked out, left everything on the table.
When I went to Florence, I got a cheese pizza, and it was packed.
Oh, Sicily.
Sicily was the amazing.
Yeah, no,
pizza.
Sicily's dope.
We're talking about Rome itself.
Yeah.
Rome was. When in Rome, pack a
And
lunch.
I don't want anybody to get mad at me, but they were also kind of rude.
They were rude. What do you mean, kind of rude? They were so rude.
Well, I went to the McDonald's in Rome, and the service was the same as McDonald's in America. Hurry up! What's your order?
No, I remember we were in line, and there was pizza line. Guy says, "If you're not getting pizza, get out of the line."
Oh yeah, they're so rude. But
Welcome to La Rome.
We met a woman from Facebook that I never met in person, and she's from Rome, and she was a doll. Now, had I would have contacted her prior to getting there, I probably would have had a better experience, but doesn't matter. I saw what I wanted to in Rome. Gianna saw what she wanted to see, and Sicily was just
the
stunning.
Colosseum's masterful, isn't it?
All of everything in the Sistine Chapel, in the Vatican, all of that stuff was amazing.
First time I saw the Sistine Chapel was under renovation. And then the second time I saw it, it was all done.
We walked 360 steps on an angle to get to the top of the dome, which lets you overlook all of the Vatican. It was out of breath, but amazing.
All right, let's welcome our viewers.
Yes, so welcome to Hijack Live, where we believe that God rescues the dreams, been a week,
that have been shattered
by the cruelties and injustices of life. So take a moment, share this, because you never know when the Word of God or Pastor Bruce will change someone's life in a positive way.
Yeah, because today we're going to finish part 2. When we looked at the 4 stages of friendship, and how if you think really any phase of life, whether it's business, this is an interesting fact, 60% of all second generational businesses fail.
Wow.
And 90% of all third generational businesses fail.
Wow.
I believe that.
So when the son tries to take over, only 40% are going to survive. And if we go to a grandson, third generation, only 10% are going to survive. And there's an obvious reason. These levels, they don't learn the levels. They don't follow the levels. They get put in a position
For sure.
where they haven't started, for lack of a better word, at the bottom.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's the same thing in friendships. Sure. So Semaj, take a moment and talk about the shirt we're going to be offering as soon as we get it printed.
So we're getting this shirt, okay? Now, we were debating about what's going to go on the front or what's going to go in the back.
Yeah, he's got it backwards.
But Uncle Marty and I, we agreed that on the front it's going to say, "Why are you telling me that?" And on the back it's going to say, "Stop gossiping."
Because it makes sense. They're reading, as they're gossiping, they're reading.
I'm not arguing with you guys.
Oh,
Whatever
good.
you say works. I'm outnumbered two. I'm not fighting the two of you.
But keep reading because this is where it gets good, thanks to Pastor Bruce's generosity.
Yes. So what we're going to do is all the proceeds will go to Wigs and Wishes.
Right.
So awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you can never have enough money in Wigs and Wishes.
Who you telling? You ain't kidding.
People think, oh wow, he raises all this money. He doesn't no one realizes the cost of a real wig.
Yeah.
Or the cost of a family to go to Disney.
Yeah, right.
But anyway.
But either way, we get it done.
So let's go through a short recap, shall we?
Yes. The key to a meaningful relationship is understanding that friendships have 4 levels or categories.
We called them stages last week, which I like.
Okay.
Yeah. So acquaintance is what?
An occasional contact.
Yes. You want to give us a definition of that? What's
So an acquaintance, everyone will use a church setting for an example. You see that one member that you see, here and there, like, you see them, you're the greeter. Every time they come in, oh, hi, good to see you, Dan. Hi, how you doing? They just sit in the same pew. You see them, once every Sunday. That's it. Just a casual.
And what's our conversation? Something like, well, it's a nice day today.
Yeah. How was service? Did you enjoy service last week? How was people?
No meat and potatoes to the conversation.
Now, what's casual?
That's someone you have common interests with.
All right. So you were a swimmer.
Yeah.
You would have a common interest, right?
Right. So if we're having a conversation and you say, well, how about Michael Phelps' times? Now we found a common interest as I was a former swimmer. So now we got a subject that we can talk about and always relate to. But
your conversation doesn't go beyond.
It doesn't really go beyond that. It's about the interest that you guys have. How about those Red Sox?
Yeah, right. Now, then we have a close relationship. What's that?
Those are some people in your life that you have mutual goals with each other.
Yes. So, for instance, let's go back to swimming. If you had somebody you connected with,
right,
and you swam through high school, and then you went to college on scholarship,
sure,
and the two of you began to build a relationship, now you're going to have mutual goals.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, fun fact, a bunch of people on my swim team when I was in high school, they swam all through their middle school, high school years, and then ended up going to the same college to swim under the same scholarship.
Okay.
So I would consider that a close friend in the sense of, they definitely have
right,
the same mutual goal. We want to get to the top, just taking the swimming thing to the next level.
Right. So now we have the last, which is intimate. What is that?
Someone you sleep with.
Not
I'm
necessarily.
kidding. It's not what the notes say.
Well, what, are you sleeping with them or having sex with them? There's a difference.
Hey, I'm jet lagged. I wasn't reading the script. Commitment to develop each other's character.
Now that's the difference.
Yeah.
Mutual goals is, this is where somebody wants to go.
Right.
And I'll help you get there.
Yeah.
When we get to that intimate level, it now moves to who we are, our character.
Yeah. Developing
who we are.
That's us.
So
that's all three of us.
At this level, we feel like we could say, hey, Martin, I don't think you should do that. Yeah. Or, Pastor, I don't think that's the best decision in the world. Or Semaj, I know you're the youth pastor, and I really don't mean to like enter your lane, but this is my suggestion.
Yeah.
At that level, you can make those
You're
kind
close
of,
enough to be honest with somebody.
Yeah.
I think upstairs, it's a perfect example.
You kind of earn the right, in a sense, to speak into a person's life.
Sure.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the levels.
So within each of these levels are freedoms and responsibilities. And when friendships function outside of these perimeters, tension and confusion is introduced that damages the enhancing and building qualities for which friendship was designed, particularly in the arena of romance.
Yeah. For instance, let's talk about this. So when couples meet, oftentimes they're driven by attraction,
sure,
which turns into lust. So the whole relation is sexually driven. My book, Love, Lust, and Lies, talks about that, how sex can lie. So they think they know one another because they're bonding sexually.
Right.
And the Bible does say that intercourse is when two people become one. And that's why Paul says, will you become one with a prostitute? God forbid. However, the problem with that in terms of building relationships is you think you know the person and you don't.
And you don't.
Right. So 7 years later, you're married and you go, this guy's a creep. How'd I ever marry him? Really, or vice versa. And I'm sorry to say that, but the reality is the reason you did was because you were so
Blinded by the lust.
yeah, and that you didn't, and you never got to know the person, and that's what we're talking about in terms of developing these kind of friendships.
Well, it's great you say that. Remember the song from back in the day? I know you probably don't remember it, PB, but Uncle Marty.
What is that? I don't remember it.
Because you didn't listen to this kind of music. Remember that hip
No, I
hop
don't.
song, Friends? Like, friends, how many of us have them? Friends, the ones we can depend on. You don't remember that
I
one?
remember that one.
Nope.
So it was a hip hop track back in the 80s.
80s, you
Yeah.
should remember that.
And
I
in the
should remember
song,
that.
you
80s.
should.
Church started in the 80s.
That's what I'm saying. So in the song, he says, he talks about the levels of friendship, not from our perspective, but he talks about the levels just of friendship in the world. And he says, it's a shame because we were lovers before we were friends.
Yes. And here's what happens. So if you really want that marriage to work, you're going to go back.
Right.
And you're going to try and build the relationship the way you're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, mutual goals, then you're close, responsibilities, intimate, feel like you can speak to one another and not argue about it and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of times you can't.
No.
There's just too much damage done because the levels were skipped.
Right.
And that's where people often turn to the Lord, and the Lord graciously allows them to rebuild a marriage or a relationship, and they keep it.
Right.
So we should ask the question, do you have a best friend outside of where you work? Martin?
Work? Outside of where I work?
Yeah.
Sure.
How about you?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
All right. Now, do you have a best friend where you work? You.
I would say so, yeah.
How about you?
Only because me and Gianna work together.
Okay. But outside of where you work, do you have a best friend?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Now, is there a difference between your friendship in the workplace and your friendship outside of the workplace?
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Tell me why. We've asked the viewers that, Gianna, if they have a best friend in the workplace and they have a best friend outside of the workplace, and what is the difference?
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference?
I would say the difference really is the demographic or what's around. So like one of my best friends, I would say outside the church, I've known basically my whole life, but he doesn't share, he doesn't know what we do, inside of 359, but we had that friendship, which is outside of work. Now I have a close friend, best friend, however you want to call it, in the workplace, but we share that common element because we know, how things are inside of church and outside of church. You know what I mean? But versus that friend that I have outside of church, he doesn't really know what's going on.
Okay, so the friend outside of church, would you say that friend, your friendship is based on the two of you, just you knowing one another, wanting what's best for one another, loving one another, or would you say that where in the church your friendship is sort of service driven? Or are they one and the same?
I would say one and the same.
Okay.
Because like my friend that I have outside of the church, we can do anything together. Like if you can call me right now and say, yo, let's give out pizzas to the homeless, let's do it. We have no problem.
Right.
But my friend in the church, he can call me, say the same thing.
Okay. So let's talk about that. Taking Gianna out of the equation at work.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
So would you say that you have a friend in the workplace?
Yes.
Okay. Is that friendship the same level as you would have, like, say, with Gianna outside of the workplace?
No.
No. What's the difference?
Well, I mean, so we have a large staff and everybody cares about each other at the salon. So like if they needed something, I would stop for them. And if I needed something, they would stop for me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not a 24/7 situation.
Now, remember we asked a really tough question last week.
Mm-hmm.
And the question was, Jesus said, no greater love hath this than he laid down his life for his friends, because he was about to lay down his life for his friends. Now, that's what you call intimate.
Right.
Because if you understand what he's doing, what is he doing? He is more interested in them and their future than he is in his own. He's willing to die so that they can live.
Sure.
Now, of course, he understood the picture.
Right.
He was going to die, and his message had to go on.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, really, Martin Luther King Jr.'s message became far more powerful after he was assassinated.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
It just now begin to live in thousands of people rather than one person. So let's look at a couple biblical friendships.
Okay.
Martin, let's look at the story of Ruth and Naomi.
Okay.
Hello, Brigade.
What's up, son?
What up?
So Ruth 1:16-17, but Ruth said, "Do not urge me to leave you or to return from following you. For where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there will I be buried. May the Lord do so to me, and more also, if anything death parts me from you."
And that's where that phrase comes in the wedding
Death to
ceremony,
us
till
part.
death do us part.
Got it.
It comes out of this. This is probably one of the most quoted passages of scripture, where you lodge, I will lie, where you die, I will die, and so forth. So, Semaj, in what way does that relationship between Ruth and Naomi demonstrate true friendship?
So before I want to answer this, my mom used to always say, a true friend is someone that's going to go through the mud with you. A true friend is someone that's going to, when you're down bad, they're going to be down bad. When you're up high, they're going to be up high with you. So the biggest thing right here, it demonstrates, if you look at the verse, it says, perfect example, for where you will go, I will go. Where you lodge, I will lodge. It's like, I'm never letting anything happen to you.
Right.
Because you're my friend. Like, I know if I call you right now at 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm in some deep trouble. I know you're coming. If I call Uncle Marty at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm in some deep trouble. I know you guys are coming.
Yeah, and you wouldn't do that for everybody.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Because number one, everyone doesn't deserve that. Number one. But number two,
true.
a friend
That's
is
a good way
someone
to
that
put it.
you can rely on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No,
like you
good
said,
point.
wherever you go, I will go.
Yeah. Right. So, Semaj, read this. This passage of scripture here in Samuel often gets misinterpreted, but it's pretty awesome. Let's read it.
So 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 1 through 3, it says, "As soon as he had finished speaking to Saul, the soul of Jonathan was knit to the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul. And Saul took him that day and would not let him return to his father's house. Then Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as his own soul."
Wow.
That's powerful.
That is
amazing.
Yes. And so let's keep reading, because it really gets fascinating now.
Okay. So then we go to verse 16 in chapter 24. It says, "Now it came about when David had finished speaking these words to Saul, that Saul said, 'Is this your voice, my son David?' Then Saul lifted up his voice and wept. And he said to David, 'You are more righteous than I, for you have dealt well with me, while I have dealt wickedly with you.'"
That's an interesting phrase that we see in the Old Testament more than once.
Mm-hmm.
You remember when Judah, when he found out his daughter-in-law was pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
and she says, "Well, I'm pregnant by," and she brings him. He's the father. She prostituted himself. She prostituted herself.
Wow.
At Timnah, and there was never a prostitute there. So when he goes back to pay her, they said, "There's never a buyer." He makes a fool of himself. But what she did was she asked him for his credit card, she asked him for his driver's license, and for his pistol, right? She asked him for everything that identified him, and he gives it to her like a fool. He says, "I'll bring you back a goat." And then 3 months later, your daughter-in-law is pregnant, and she brings him out this stuff. She said, "This is the guy who I'm pregnant by," because he wouldn't give her his third son in marriage. And he says to her, "You are more righteous than I."
Wow. I got a lot of goats. We get trouble in this house.
Yeah, you could. All right, it's a great story. So the people need to read the Old Testament. It's fascinating. Go ahead.
All right. Then 18 it says, "And you have declared today that you have done good to me, and that the Lord delivered me into your hand, and yet you did not kill me. For if a man finds his enemy, will he let him go away safely? May the Lord therefore reward you with good in return for what you have done to me this day. And now behold, I know that you shall surely be king, and that the kingdom of Israel shall be established in your hand. So now swear to me by the Lord that you will not cut off my descendants after me, and that you will not destroy my name from my father's household." And David swore to Saul, and Saul went to his home, but David and his men went up to the stronghold.
So both Jonathan and Saul knew that the kingdom was to be inherited by David. And Jonathan worked to that end. because he was a true friend.
Right.
But Saul never worked to that end,
Right.
even when he knew it was God's will. So I'm going to ask the viewers, Semaj and Martino, has there been a time in your life when you gave to another what could have been yours because you were a true friend and you loved that person deeply? So to the viewers, think about this. Has there ever been a time in your life when you gave to someone else something that could have been yours because you were a true friend and you loved that person deeply? Now, I think there's a little more to this story because there's more than just that. It's the will of God and understanding the will of God.
Right.
You know? So it's kind of like in this transition. I'm willing to hand over the lead pastor position to Blake Hunt because I believe that is the will of God.
Right.
But it's
Now,
not.
and I don't even know him.
I was going to say
Yeah,
that's what tripped
right.
me up when
All
you,
right.
was because you were a true friend. That's where I got tripped up.
Yeah.
If you took that out, I'd be able to say yes 100 times.
Okay. Yeah, because in this case, I don't know Blake other than I believe that he's God's will. And when
Right.
we went through this whole process and you know, God connects all these providential dots, we said, you know, wow, this is the man for the job. If I were to do that for you or you, that would be different.
Right.
Because I'm giving something up because I love you and I know you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where in this case, it's I believe that's the will of God.
Right.
So let's take the will of God out of it for just a moment. What about just a friend?
For
Somebody
sure.
would do that
All the time.
Yeah. I think it's also symbolic too, Uncle Mario. If you look, notice how it says, has there been a time in your life? Time. We give our
Oh,
time.
that's true.
All
That's a
the
good
time.
That defines you as a human being. What you do with your time, talent, and treasure.
Time,
Yeah.
talent, and treasure. We give our time to our true friends, even when you know it could be ours. Perfect example. Let's look at Elijah for an example.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
I took time out of almost every day the past couple weeks to visit him in the hospital, and then he asked to come he asked to come stay a couple days with me, and I took time out of my day to clean his wounds, take care of him, make sure that he was good. I didn't have to do that, but a true friend would do that.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that, just like you said, I mean, I remember we had a person who worked for us early in our ministry, and he struggled with a certain addiction. And I just would say to him, listen, I don't care if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, call me and we'll talk. Because if we talk, then you're not going to go where you shouldn't be going, right?
100%.
And I remember sometimes I'd get a call at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't even have to ask him. I didn't ask him. So you're wrestling with these thoughts or whatever. We would just talk because I knew the fact that he called me at 1 o'clock in the morning meant he was wrestling with these thoughts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's look at Job's friends. This is a great illustration.
Now, I'm only going to read this if you read the bold lettered words.
Okay, you got it.
All right. So now when Job's 3 friends heard of all the evil that had come upon him, they came each from his own place.
Eliphaz,
The Temanite,
beautiful. Bildad,
the Shunammite,
Shuhite.
Shuhite,
You can't go wrong with putting a height on the end of it.
Yeah.
And Zophar, the...
Namamamanite.
That's good. I like that. Keep going.
And they made an appointment together to come show him sympathy and comfort him.
So Semaj, in what ways did Job's 3 friends prove that they were friends?
Come on, this goes back to kind of what I just said. They came together. They appoint together to come to show him sympathy and comfort him.
Yeah.
Doesn't the Bible say that there is a friend that sticks closer than any brother?
Can I tell you though? These friends sat there for 7 days and never said a word. They were so appalled at his condition. The sad part was, after they sat there for 7 days and they meditated on this, then they became his judge.
Whoa.
They looked at his position and they thought about it for 7 days, and they came up, and who needs friends like that?
Yeah,
They criticized him that he had looked at women the wrong way, that he had treated people unkindly, that the only reason this happened to him was because he lived one way, but underneath it all he was a phony, and they all criticized him, and you know that God came to his defense.
Absolutely.
But when that happens, even people that are a good friend sometimes, when they can't understand why we're in where we are, we always have to find an excuse or justify. I find that when people leave the church, or let's say somebody leaves your salon,
Right.
right? Instead of just simply saying, "Hey, I think it's time for me to move a different season, or I want to start my own place, whatever. They have to badmouth you so they
100%.
can justify their move.
Correct.
Oh no, of course. I deal with that with my clients too. Like if I have clients that I've had for years and they get like a new DJ for something, and I'm like,
Why do they have to put you down?
Yeah, it's like, well, your mixes aren't really that great. Well, wait a minute. Like, why did we get to that point?
They were
Like,
great
yeah.
for the last 5 years.
Right, or somebody comes to church for 17 years and get an offense with somebody and then they leave and they go, oh, the church is hard. And I'm thinking, well, for 17 years it was everything you wanted it to be. Yeah,
It's true.
it's crazy. So to me, a person who is a true friend has your back.
Always.
And remember that question, how do you know what a true friend is? That little kid, now I don't know if it was a little kid, but it was a great illustration. He was 6 years old. He said, when my name is safe in their mouth.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
When my name is safe in your mouth, you know that's a friend.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yep.
Well, we probably ought to wrap up. So I'm going to read the level, and you're going to give the association or what it is, just as a recap. So
Okay.
acquaintance,
Occasional contacts,
casual,
common interest,
close,
mutual goals,
and intimate.
commitment to develop each other's character.
Amen. So no one can shortchange the stages. That's what's important. So, do we have any comments, Gianna?
Let me pull it up. I asked the question, and Stephen Pace said he is an OTR truck driver. He spends 24/7, so everything is combined, work and personal time. But when I take 2 or 3 days off to reset my driving hours, personal time is for family and close friends away from trucking friends, and workplace time, a few close truck driver friends. And he's saying good afternoon from West Palm Beach, Florida.
Ah, how about
That's
that?
great.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Love West Palm Beach.
Way to
So
go, Steve.
with that, make sure you share this. We'll leave it on forever. Send us topics you'd like for us to address, because just because he's retiring doesn't mean Hijack Life Live is. Speaking of that,
Back, I can give it a little more time. We
Yeah.
can have a T-shirt made.
Amen to that. So, since this is your last sermon as lead pastor, not your last sermon, but your last sermon as lead pastor, what is your sermon on this weekend?
It's lessons learned over 40 years worth sharing.
Okay.
So I have 9. I'm going to do 3.
Okay. What's one?
And the last one, the last point in the 3 is held hostage by a lunatic. And Semaj was there with me
He wouldn't let me in. He barricaded himself in his office
in my office.
and wouldn't let me in.
And so when the police said, so do you have a weapon, Reverend? I said, I do not. Does the man in the room with you have a weapon? I said, he says he has a knife, but I don't see it. And then this guy in the room who's methed out, he says coked out, whatever the case, he yells, yeah, there's a sword on the wall.
I was just
thinking,
thinking
I
that.
can't believe he
Wait,
saw that.
Wait, you said there wasn't. I'm thinking, what about the sword on the wall?
Is this real? Is that-
Yeah,
This
yeah, it
happened
happened
Monday.
Monday when I was working on this sermon. It's my
Yeah.
last point.
Well, we're going to hear all about it on
Yeah,
Sunday. For
right.
those of you in Palm Beach, Florida, make sure or West Palm, forgive me, tune in live at 11:15, but you want to be there in person if you're local. And above all else, live for Jesus, and your life will make a difference
everywhere you go. I was going to
Let's
say,
re-slurp
yeah,
that
let's
up.
do it again.
Okay.
Live for Jesus, and your life will make a difference everywhere you go.
Be
All
blessed.
right.
Have
Amen.
a great day.
Absolutely.